Zillow just released their 2025 housing market forecast, and it's a shocking forecast because despite what a lot of people have been wishing, wanting, and hoping for lower home prices, Zillow's saying that ain't happening in 2025. And so today we're going to dive deep into Zillow's housing market forecast for 2025 because I want to know what you think about this. Do you think Zillow's forecast is nuts, or are they dead on accurate? Comment below. I'd like to know. And so I'll start with showing you the current status of the housing market according to Zillow. Then we'll look at their 2025 forecast. And as always, all the articles are linked in my description below. Oh, I almost forgot. Please subscribe to my channel. Like this video. Please share it if you can. Only takes a minute. I'm putting in the work. All you got to do is hit a couple buttons. So first, we're looking at the Zillow July housing market report to get an idea of the current status of the market. And I won't read all of the article, but I did highlight a few important sections. So first, we'll just look at the inventory in this article because that's important. If we have more inventory on the street, more active houses for sale, that eventually will drive down prices if demand doesn't also increase, which, by the way, it definitely could. But they say inventory continues to accumulate and now stands nearly 25% above last year's levels. So we've made some good progress with active inventory for sale. You're probably seeing more houses on the market where you live. I know I am here in Ohio. So we have 25% more homes available to purchase than we did this time last year. But we're still down 31.5% compared to pre-pandemic levels, meaning back in 2019, we had 31% more homes available to purchase. Isn't that crazy? So we have more homes to choose from and sellers are cutting prices more than normal. Check this out. More than 26% of homes on Zillow received a price cut in July. That's a good amount, right? So the question is, has the extra inventory and these big price cuts actually translated into lower home prices? Not quite yet. So here's where they talk about home values in the article. The typical U.S. home is worth $362,000. Home values climbed month over month in 34 of the 50 largest metro areas. So when they look at the top 50 metro areas, the majority of those metros saw price increases month over month from June to July. Home values did fall on a monthly basis in 13 of the top 50 metros in July. So there were some areas where home prices actually declined. Home prices are up from a year ago in 44 of the 50 largest metros. So when you look at year over year, 44 of the top 50, almost all of them have higher home prices than they did this time last year. So obviously right now, no crashing. So home values are down from a year ago level in 4 major metros out of the top 50. So only a select handful of the top metros actually have price declines compared to last year at this time. Now, here's what's really alarming if you're hoping, wishing, and wanting for a housing market crash. New listings decreased 6.3% month over month in July. So new listings are stalling. We're not adding a lot of new listings like we were in the spring. Now, it's typical at this time of the year for sellers to pull back and not list their homes. However, a lot of people have thought, hey, eventually all these people are going to flood the market with their inventory, causing prices to crash. But for the prices to crash, you got to have inventory. And to have inventory, you got to have new listings. Right now, new listings are lagging. And they go on. New listings increased only 6% compared to last year. That's not going to do it. You got to have a lot more new listings to cause any type of major price crash. And new listings are still 24% lower than they were pre-pandemic, meaning this time back in 2019, you had 24% more new listings on the market for people to choose from. And this article also hits on rents, because rents aren't crashing either. Asking rents increased 0.4% month over month in July. The pre-pandemic average rent growth for this time of the year is 0.6. So while they're down slightly, they still haven't crashed. In other words, rents skyrocketed during the pandemic. And now a lot of folks thought rent prices would crash, but that's not happening. Rents are relatively stable and actually still increasing because look at this. Rents fell on a monthly basis in just one major metro area, and that was Austin by a whopping 0.2%. So again, investing in real estate, in my opinion, makes a lot of sense because obviously values have continued to climb. And not only that, people obviously need a place to live and rents have continued to increase. So it doesn't look like any type of massive price crash is happening right now for landlords and investors. Now let's look at a price map of the United States. And I pulled this information from Resi Club Analytics. They provide amazing real estate data. The link's in my description below. I would definitely check them out. So this map shows us the 12-month change in metro level home prices between July 2021 and July 2022. So I think this will help explain where home prices have gone over the last couple years. And that can give you an idea of how far they have to fall to actually have a crash when we look at Zillow's forecast for next year. So look at some of these areas. The blue areas are price increases, value increases. The red areas are where values dropped. Now, I'm looking at the map and it's really hard to find any areas at all where values dropped. Again, from 21 to 22. Blytheville, Arkansas, looks like it dropped 9%, almost 10% in 21 to 22. But about every other metro out there had insane increases. Look at this. Dallas, Texas up 22%. Houston, Texas up 17%, almost 18%. Los Angeles, California up 12.7%. New York up 8.8%. Miami, Florida up 24%. Where I live and work as a realtor investor in Columbus, Ohio, it was up 12.9%. So you can see from 21 to 22, we had massive increases in home values, no doubt. But now let's do this. We're going to look at 23 to 24 because it looks much different. And by the way, I'm not saying home prices are still skyrocketing like they were during the pandemic. In fact, if you look at this map here, this shows us the change between 2023 and 2024. And it looks much different because, again, the red and yellow areas are metros where prices are declining. The blue areas are prices increasing, and there's a lot less dark blue areas. So New York, now from 23 to 24 only went up 6.8%. Miami went up 4.6%. Los Angeles, California, up 6.7%. And look at Columbus, Ohio, up 4.1%. But there's areas where prices didn't go up near as much or actually went down. Look at this. Minneapolis, Minnesota, down 0.1% year over year. Dallas, Texas, flat, no drop, no increase. Remember, this is July of 23 to July of 24. Austin, Texas, down 4.6%. San Antonio, Texas, down 2.9%. Look at San Francisco, California, only up 3.8%. Denver, Colorado, up 0.8%. So clearly the market is changing, but what will happen as we move into 2025? Will home prices go down? Will they continue to increase? Will we have an explosion or a crash? This is what Zillow has to say. So this is their home value and sales forecast they put out in the end of August. And a couple of things I highlighted here, and then we're going to look at a map. Zillow expects home values to climb 1.8% in 2024. So what they're saying is values will increase. Basically, if you look at the beginning of 2024 to the end of 2024, and you look across the country, aggregately, we'll have a 1.8% increase in home values, which is actually below historical norms, but it's far from a crash. And then they say, looking beyond 2024, easing inflation and more accommodating mortgage rates should improve affordability slightly. This will help stimulate housing activity with both new listings and sales rising over the longer term. And here's their forecast. Year over year, they expect an increase of 0.9% from July of 2024 to July of 2025. And again, I want to know what you think about that. I mean, is Zillow dead on here, or are they completely crazy? Are they manipulating this data for their own narrative? You tell me. So now we look at this chart and you can see how home prices dipped significantly after the GFC, but then had a steady rise and then shot up through the stratosphere during the pandemic. Then had a slight dip in 2022, then back up, and they're continuing to climb. So this map shows us the Zillow forecast for metro level home prices between July 2024 and July 2025. Got this information from Resi Club Analytics. If you're not subscribed to Resi Club, you're missing out. Links in the description below. So in this map, they use the same methodology as the other maps. Red or yellow, bad. Green, blue, good. So one thing you can clearly see is there aren't a lot of big blue areas. There's a few, not near as many as we had back in 2021 to 22, and not even as many as we had in 23 to 24. So for instance, Miami, Florida, they're projecting price growth of 2%, just 2%. New York City projecting a price growth of negative 0.8%. So they're saying home prices will actually drop in New York year over year. Dallas, Texas, down 0.3%. Houston, Texas, down 1.1%. San Antonio, down 1.7%. Austin, down 2.7%. San Francisco, down 3.6%. Los Angeles, only 1.4% growth. Columbus, Ohio, where I am, up 1.1%. There are some areas that they're projecting larger price declines. New Orleans, Louisiana, down 5.9%. Beaumont, Texas, down 5.6%. Johnstown, Pennsylvania, down 5%. Again, there are some areas they're projecting some decent growth. So Knoxville, Tennessee, up 4.2%. Hilton Head, South Carolina, up 2.6%. And look at Tampa, Florida. A lot of people thought that would crash next year. They're saying it'll go up 1.2%. So that's the Zillow 2025 housing market forecast as it stands right now. They do revise these often, so I'll definitely do another video if they come out with a new revision. But as of right now, Zillow's saying, hey, there is no housing crash coming next year. And if you're waiting on the sidelines for some massive price declines, nationally, we're just not going to see it. Now, real estate is hyper local, right down to sometimes your neighborhood or street level. So you need to look at your individual market to find out what's going on. But aggregately, overall throughout the United States, it doesn't look like a housing crash is here. We need inventory, a lot more inventory, and we need people that have to sell their homes, so they slash the prices in order to see those discounts fall through. We also have to see demand stay where it is now, which is super low. If demand spikes as interest rates drop, even if we add more sellers, I don't think you're going to see a massive price decline. At least that's what I'm seeing in the data, but I'm curious what you think. Comment below. And if you want to keep your finger on the pulse of the housing market on a weekly basis, down to metro level analysis, check out my Redfin Live updates. I do those every Thursday. Here's the latest one I did. I hope to see you there.